Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, the economy is great in the Western world and not only. And I would say that for the most part it is because of the great policies our elected officials employed. And in this case we have England, Great Britain, and they will blame the usual suspects for the crisis. Now, this article comes from Republic World and it's titled Bank of England makes biggest interest rate hike in 30 years. Well, it must be a crisis somewhere, right? The Bank of England has announced its biggest interest rate increase in 3 decades as it tries to beat back stubbornly high inflation. Now we're going to find out the suspects, the people responsible. Fueled by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the disastrous economic policies of former Prime Minister Lazy Lizard Truss. So Russia's invasion created all this and 40 days of Liz Truss. Do you believe that? I don't believe that either. Well, let's see the Russian invasion. If Russian invasion would have been, let's say, untouched, they would have had no effect on the economy of the Western Europe whatsoever. Zero. The same, Liz Truss, you're telling me that Liz Truss's 40 days and 3 decisions that she made destroyed everything just like that? Is there no COVID-19 policies? No? Nothing there? Is there any handouts that occurred during those times? No? Responsible? No? Is it printing money like crazy in United States? No? Okay. That it must be Putin then. Putin and Lizzie together. Friends, lovers. The Bank of England, yes, it did that. The bank boosted its key rate by 0.75 of a percentage point Thursday to 3% after consumer price inflation returned to a 40-year high in September. The interest rate decision is the first since Truss's government announced £45 billion, which is $52 billion, of unfunded tax cuts that sparked turmoil on financial markets, pushed up mortgage costs, and forced Truss from office after just 6 weeks. Just that, and then that just destroyed everything, you're telling me? Okay, let's say they're no best. Now, her successor, Rishi Maharishi Sunak, has warned of spending cuts and tax increases as he seeks to undo the damage and show that Britain is committed to paying its bills. The rate increase in the Bank of England's 8th in a row and is the biggest since 1992. Now, the war in Ukraine boosted food and energy prices. No, not the war. Is the sanction, my boy. The sanctions. That triggered, because if you don't sanction, that would not have any effect on you. Maybe you say about the grain, but again, the grain, natural gas and cooking oil was disrupted. Yeah, it was disrupted. I give you that. But not the gas. Gas should not have been disrupted because no gas pipeline was blown up in Ukraine. Did you notice that? Zero. None. The Russians know exactly where it is when the pipelines are, right? None of them was blown up, but was blown up the one in the North Baltic Sea. Europe, it says, added to inflation that began to accelerate last year when the global economy began to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Whoa! Recover what? The pandemic or the disastrous economy that the pandemic policies triggered? No, it was nothing. All good. Europe has been particularly hard hit by Europe has been particularly hard hit by a jump in natural gas prices as Russia responded to Western sanctions and support for Ukraine by cutting shipments of the fuel used to heat homes, generate electricity and power industry, and European nations competed for alternative supplies on global markets. So yeah, you got yourselves inserted in Russia in Ukraine. The Russians reacted to your bullshit, and there you have it. You didn't have to do anything, but you did. Well, there you have it. Meanwhile, food prices have jumped 14.6% in the year through September, led by the soaring cost of staples such as meat, bread, milk, and eggs. The Office for National Statistics said. That's exactly what I said each and every time. These guys come with a consumer price index for about 8%. No, that's not true. Go and buy something today, take a picture of that price and return in 2 months or a month and see what the new price is, or in 5 months. And it's easy to calculate. Again, buy the same product, the same quantity, the same brand, take a picture of the price, and you're gonna find out the real inflation. Look at the gas at the pump, the same thing. But they're just lumping so many things together. So let's say you have a Lamborghini, it's just only 2%, okay, increases price, but you have milk, I don't know, 35%. Well, you add them together, subtract, divide by 2, and you get what, about 16? I mean, if let's say 30 plus 2 divided by 2, you got what? 16. Oh, the inflation, the consumer price index is only 16%. Really? Do I buy a Lamborghini? Who buys a Lamborghini? 5 people? So take that out. Don't consider that one. Consider the milk, eggs, bread, ladies of the night, alcohol, things that people consume or use. That pushed consumer price inflation back to 10.1%, the highest since early 1982 and equal to the level last reached in July. It's okay, the bankers will help us because they are the good guys here. And the Bank of England. Who owns that? England? Okay, I just want to make sure you guys own it. Oh man, there's the same thing happened here with these weasels with the private bank, so-called Federal Reserve Bank, as hanky-panky. And then imagine if these guys discuss doing something and they give the information outside for about 24 hours. And those guys are going outside and do the hanky-panky on the stock market, investment and selling and buying. And after 24 hours, the Fed said, oh, we do this is a decision. We're all like, oh my God, surprise, surprise. And other people got the sacks of money walking out of Wall Street. All right, that's the way it works and will work, inside trading. And not only. That's why when you hear about an investor, there's just like that, lucky, just if you could, and I know there are sources like FBI or CIA know exactly, they should know exactly where they get the information, the hint. And maybe they're like the Germans in the Second World War. Remember that theory that they didn't have to write it down or speak it about the final solution and all that. They just did it because they kind of like knew. They were like, they didn't have to say it. That's why you don't find, the same here. The guys on Wall Street, they just know. With the Fed, they work together and all those weasels. That's why they are successful. Some of them. And they tend to belong to a certain group. Ha ha ha. And you and I are not in that group, just so we make sure we got that covered. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.